Good afternoon. My name is Diane Varga with Family Partners of Morris and Sussex Counties, and I welcome you to this week's Lunch and Learn. Today is November 21st, and I'd like to welcome Ben Wilson and Stefan Klenk today with the Community Access Unlimited. Stefan will be presenting today on success in the self-advocacy movement and how to get connected to the community. Welcome to you both.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. It is very great to see everyone. I do apologize if I don't sound a little bit like myself. As we're recording this, it is the middle of November, and there are some seasonal allergies moving around. So I do apologize in advance, but hopefully it sounds well on your end. For a little bit of a background, I have been a self-advocate now for the past 4 years, working independently as a photographer and a writer for nearly 8 years now. I love what I do. I love being able to learn and to share my knowledge with others. And as we do this presentation today, I hope you gain some knowledge, a little bit about the self-advocacy movement, why it is so important for individuals who are differently abled, and how to move about in the community. All these are very important topics, so I hope we gain some information from this today. So we're going to start with speaking up and standing out and successes that have been in the self-advocacy movement. Now, self-advocacy is a very important topic because we need to speak up for ourselves when something may not be right, or if we want to change something. It could be a law, it could be something in our own community, things that we need, so that way we can be successful and we can move about and we can work in our communities around us. And self-advocacy is really meaningful for people who are differently abled, because it is the act of it representing ourselves to engage in what we feel is important, our own views or our interests, to articulate our needs and make informed decisions about what supports we need that are necessary for us to live the best life and how we can meet those needs. I like to start with this quote, and this was from a very prominent advocate here in the state of New Jersey. His name was Sid Katz, and he said this: "It is important to teach everyone with different abilities the value of advocacy and what it is all about, so that people can make their own decisions and be their own person." I've been advocating for myself now, as I mentioned, for the past 4 years. I'm now just beginning to learn about the issues that are really important to me, things that I might need in order to be successful, whether it's housing, healthcare, all very important things that we need to live a successful life. And when we're thinking about the self-advocacy movement from a differently abled perspective, we have to understand and know our own rights and responsibilities. I think most of the time, we all want to learn about our own disability from a medical perspective, what our own needs are, and even our own strengths and weaknesses, because sometimes we may be good at one thing and may not be good at another. I may be good at writing, but other people may not be. But we also need to know what accommodations we need, whether it's at our own home or in the workplace, or getting from one place to another, and why we need them. It's important to know our why, but to know that we have the right to be exactly who we are and to live the life that we want. We also want to know how to effectively communicate our needs and our preferences, to know who to speak to when there is an issue, the key people in our community, whether it's someone on a federal or even state or local level, and how to contact them if we need to. And we want to be able to ask questions if something's unclear, or maybe we need clarification. We can't do this alone. Even self-advocates, we need support from others. We want to be able to learn from each other and make this world just a little bit of a better place. And throughout the state, there are many self-advocacy groups, so many of them, which I will be talking a little bit more about. And they're open to all self-advocates, anyone who is living and participating in the community. All throughout the state, we are all linked to the key players in our community, to different groups, organizations, to the most important people making decisions. And they might be making decisions for us. So that is why it's so important for us to speak up and to stand out. And these groups are always governed by a board of officers. They may have different rules and regulations. But there's one key message, and that is that we're using our voices to advocate and to speak up about our needs and what we need to live that successful life. And these self-advocacy groups stand for all sorts of things. Most importantly, that we all have the right to live in our own communities, to learn, to have a job, and even participate in different events and activities. That we advocate for not using labels when we're referring to others. That if something good is passed, that we make sure that it's being carried out. And that when a new rule or law or regulation comes about, that we make sure those in the differently abled community also have a voice, because it may affect us. All we want is to be referred to as ourselves. We want to have what everyone else has, equal rights. We want to be able to live independently, have a job, be able to move around. There are no limits when it comes to what self-advocates, just any of us, can do when we speak up for what we believe in. And you may be thinking about someone right now who wants to speak up and have their voice heard. So how do we as groups, the self-advocacy groups, stay successful? We become part of programs that support us, other advocacy groups and services. In some cases, we may attend conferences and trainings, and there are many different conferences all throughout the state of New Jersey that are helping to learn and to understand what individuals who are differently abled, who have specific needs, are in need of. Setting goals and objectives, and how we can achieve those goals. We're always visible in the community. You may see these groups at different events, giving back and sharing their resources, or even networking with other leaders. And these groups empower us to be independent, to have a positive attitude. We want to be able to run our own show. We want to be able to speak up for ourselves. That doesn't mean along the way we can't have some supports, or maybe other individuals who can help speak up for ourselves. We want to be able to do that. It's a great way to network and to know who else is out there. And we keep our group strong by attending monthly meetings, by welcoming new guests regularly, holding officer meetings, and even welcoming new members through elections, through having special guest speakers and even video presentations. They may have administrative sessions or welcome public officials, updates on legislation, on state level, county, local, networking, volunteering, or even in some cases, fundraising, writing letters when something important it needs to be spoken about, or even holding different campaigns, rallies, And in some cases, we also need leadership training because the world is changing and it's a good thing to keep updated on what's going on. Self-advocacy groups may be seen at different events, offering their outreach, introducing themselves about what they offer, as well as community improvement. Again, we're always open to many groups are open to new guests and members, anyone who is interested in hearing about what is going on in their community. It all starts at home. We may have newsletters or flyers updating people about different programs, whether it's monthly meetings or something important that's going on. We may send phone calls out if there's something urgent that needs to be addressed, using the buddy system or having mentors there to talk about these issues. Some groups may have promotions like Advocate of the Month or even the year. If one of their members is doing something special, doing something to help others, give them praise and encouragement. And also remember that there are a lot of short-term goals that could be accomplished along the way. All of us as groups are doing something amazing to help others in our own small way. And it's important to remember that that is a huge part of what these self-advocacy groups are all about. And there are many groups throughout the state that are helping others. So how can you be involved? There are a couple of important accomplishments that have been made in the self-advocacy movement. One is the Partners in Policymaking program, which I'm a proud graduate of, graduated in 2021, where you get to learn alongside other advocates through the entire state. This could be anyone who is differently abled. It could be family members, parents, guardians, or even caretakers. You may hear about rallies that are held in Trenton to raise awareness about certain issues or something that is in legislation that should be passed. Disability awareness days held throughout the state. But it's also good to connect with the New Jersey Council on Developmental Disabilities. They're a statewide network and they have many different programs and ways to advocate, whether you are a parent, whether you are a self-advocate. You have the regional family support planning councils, which are in all 21 counties. There's also the People First movement, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. So this is a question that I bring up in a lot of my slides when I'm talking to people who are interested in self-advocacy. And I raise the question of when election month is, because it is important. We just had a big election this year, and there are going to be more. And voting is very important. The last general election was on November 5th, and we're going to have a state election next year. The first Tuesday in November is always important because that's when we get to decide who's going to lead us into the future. And it's important to educate people on things that they might need to know about voting and what their rights are, whether it's in the voting booth or even outside of the voting booth. And there are different issues that we look at. Accessibility is so important. It's still an issue. Even after the passing of the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, there are still areas where individuals may need assistance. Things like the economy are always going to be important. Education and the quality of that education. Healthcare, always important, especially in the self-advocacy movement. and still ongoing. Doesn't matter what aspect of healthcare it may be. Things like marriage equality, the marriage penalty, which is still something that affects many individuals who are under different programs. The rights for those for women, very important. And even gun laws, which could be related to safety or otherwise. And we learn about these issues through a variety of different mediums. We may do our own research, look things up, going on to search engines and reading stories, or maybe even articles through the news. Looking up on the internet, social media is how we get connected on the issues that are happening. By talking to the important people, phone calls, attending or holding regular meetings. In some cases, TV may have information, or even the newspaper. These are all very important mediums to find out about what's happening, and still very vital today, especially on a state and local level. And how do we choose a candidate? We look for what they stand for. We look at the issues. We go on to the candidates' websites to find out what issues they're looking at. We don't vote based on popularity. We vote because that we are told to. We don't vote because of that. We vote for what we believe in. If you believe in someone that will care about accessibility, education, healthcare, then you want to vote for someone who believes in those things. Same thing for equal rights. Always make sure to look at the candidates, look at what their issues are. And if you don't see it listed, let them know. Say, this is important to me. Voting is so important, and it's important that everyone has the opportunity to have their voice heard. It's our right to. We live and work in our community. We're very active, and we want to be able to have a say. And I think most importantly, we want to be ensured that the issues that are important to us are going to be important to the person that we're voting for as well. There are a variety of different groups that are advocating for people, no matter what their ability. There is the New American Movement for people with disabilities, and they're committed to social, in some cases, political and even economic structure of society so that we can all live with pride as individuals and as equals, regardless of who we are, regardless of our status and our own abilities. They stand for advocacy, inclusion, and community. There is SABE, Self-Advocates Becoming Empowered. And they're on a mission to ensure that everyone with disabilities are treated as equals and are given the same choices and the rights as everyone else around us. They want to empower people. That's what we want. We want to be empowered. We want to be able to have a group of friends around us and learn from our own mistakes. Sometimes we may not get that opportunity. It's important to know that these are groups out there that are helping to lift others up and help them find their voice. And as I mentioned before, the People First movement, this is a major movement that is going on throughout the state. This group is in almost all counties through the state. And they're a group of networks that are uniting to affect real and positive changes in our own community, not just on a state level, but from right where we live. And these groups are coming together, they're being formed to advance the rights and the opportunities of all people with developmental disabilities on the state level. And there's a link on that up above, njcdd.org/People First NJ. If you or someone you know has been wanting to be part of this movement or wants to have their voice heard, let them know, because we've got this. And there are a whole group of people out there that are fighting for the same thing. And that's why it's important for us to speak up and to stand out. We have every right to be part of this community, to have our voice heard. And you or someone you know may be feeling the same way. So let's do this together. And let's all advocate for the better of the world and the world around us.
Thank you, Stefan, for that wonderful presentation. I think you have another one, though, that you're going to share with us.
I certainly do. And I want to talk about something else that's very important, and that is the community that's around us. Community is very important, especially for anyone who is differently abled, who may be wanting to get out and work, see their friends, or even just getting connected to services. Being part of the community is such an important part of living life. And this is something that I think all of us want. We just want the opportunity to be where we live, to have friends, and a group of people that are going to be there. Maybe not to support us, but to help us. The word community is so important. And you may be asking yourself, what does community mean to me? Community is living in the same area. Community is sharing the same characteristics, or maybe even the same goals or interests. Being connected to others and sharing ideas, your goals, your knowledge, or even just having a simple talk, a discussion. That's what community is all about. Community is that and more. And many people have different thoughts about community or different definitions of what community means to them. And we get connected to what's going on in the community through a number of different ways. We may find out about what's going on through word of mouth. If something is happening just down the block from us, someone may come over and tell us. We may find out about it through local newspapers, through different media sources. We might even check online. Social media is how we find out about a lot of things that are going on these days. Whether it's through sites like Facebook, Instagram, different community groups. This is how we get connected to the world around us. It all starts at the local level. We may find out about what's going on through our local library. The resource desks and information that we get from libraries can be vast and can be very beneficial. Our local county offices, or even city offices, that provide updates on things that may be important, or even local events. If your county or local office has an office of the disabled, our local parks and recreation that offer a vast variety of resources, even provider agencies, such as your local ARC, or even message boards at coffee shops, or even at grocery stores, provide vast amounts of information. And when we're talking to people who may be thinking about going out, especially in the special needs community, we want to make sure that we are prepared. A lot of times we may have stuff go on. We want to make sure that we are prepared for anything. So we always confirm the date and the time of where we're going. We want to make sure that our cell phone is charged. We want to be with a group of friends and to tell other people where we're going if they are interested in joining along. But we also let people know where we're going, such as our parents, either maybe a close friend or a relative, or if we are living with someone, to make sure that they know that we are okay, that we have a way of getting to and from where we're going, transportation, and making sure that we have enough money. These are all important things, and safety is just as important as well, especially in our community. We want to make sure that we're taking care of each other, that we're aware of our surroundings, that if there are strangers around, that we're cautious, but also making sure that others know where we're going to be. Again, if we're going out, we want to make sure we, talk to people. We talk to, a parent or guardian, or maybe a close friend, and that we are with our friends or in a crowd, that we trust our own instincts, which can be hard sometimes. But it's important to know that if there's something, if something doesn't feel right or look right, it might not be. And that we're always vigilant and prepared for just about anything. Because it's a big world and we want to live in it, but we want to live in it knowing that our safety is also coming into mind. And that we're not afraid, that we can participate and live in the community with the aspect of safety in mind. I always like to bring up during my presentations when I talk to other people, individuals, about the places that they can go, because it's a wide world out there. And there are many different inexpensive or even free activities in our community. There are local YMCAs close by, or even JCCs, different community centers that offer a variety of programs that are either a small fee or even no charge at all. Going into our local town, going to the shopping mall or a place of worship, sometimes even exploring a flea market or garage sale. Museums are are wonderful places to go. They not only offer great, vast educational benefits, but it's a great way of exploring and experiencing culture. And even our libraries, which I think are one of the best resources that we have, that offer a vast variety of programs. And a lot of times you can sign up for a library card just by walking in, if you're a resident of that town, and being able to take out books and read, surf the net, or even just finding different programs. These are all great benefits of getting out and exploring the community around us. We're coming up to a busy time of the year as we're in November, different community events that are happening. And of course, going to our local parks to get exercise, or even the beach in the summertime, going to the local amusement park, community centers, maybe volunteering at a different program, or also visiting with family and friends. It's important to know that these are places that we can go to. There are no limits to where we can go. A lot of times it's all in our mind. There are tons of options out there. And sometimes all we have to do is look for it. And that's where we go to our resources. We go to our social media, we pick up the paper. We may hear about it from a friend. And this is why we go out, because we want to live our best life and we want to be empowered to go out into the world and live our best life. I remember when I was young, I wanted to spend time inside playing video games. I thought maybe there wasn't much in the world for me. And then I experienced job training programs. I realized there's much more out there, that I don't have to be stuck inside. I don't have to be limited, that I can have friends and other people that I hang out with. And I've been very lucky that for the past 10 years, I've had a wonderful group of people that I hang out with every single week. We get together, we may talk about different things, light subjects. Some people may bring in their own video games to share, or puzzles, or different type of board games. But this is why we go out, because we want to live our best life and we want to be independent. Whether we're going to school or even work, maybe going out shopping, going to a concert or a sporting event, or checking in on ourselves, regular checkups, visits at our doctor, PCP, all very important. And the many modes of transportation that we can get, that are available, it's endless. Doesn't matter whether it's by train, by bus, paratransit, rideshare. In some cases, we may drive ourselves, or we may walk or bike. These are all of the ways that we can get around. And that's important to know, because we can be independent. And many people with different abilities are independent and already out there working and being with their friends. In some cases, we might even be learning. But that's why we're part of the community, because it helps to improve not only how we feel physically, but also how we feel emotionally. It can be hard to be stuck inside, but we want to be out in the world. We want to meet new people. We want to learn and explore this world that's around us. And it's a big world, of course, but it all starts at home. It starts where we live. We want to be able to educate others, maybe even ourselves, to create a better world and have a better society. It's our right to. We have every right to as a citizen. And I think overall, it just makes us feel good about ourselves. It gives us empowerment. It makes us feel like we can do just about anything. I especially enjoy getting to go out and work every single week. It gives me the chance to meet new people. It gives me the chance to do something that I love. I love being able to write about things. I love being able to document different events that are going on, or even just being able to attend an event, go out with friends, and socialize. I think many people with different abilities miss that opportunity because they don't get a chance to. We just want the opportunity to live a normal life. We want to be just like everyone else. And it is true, we may deal with challenges when we're in the community. And stress, we certainly feel it like everyone else. And it's natural for us to feel stress. And stress can be triggered by a number of things, mostly when we're addressed with an experience that's new or even unexpected. When we have little control over something, that can make us feel really stressed. I remember feeling stressed from work a few weeks ago because there was so much going on. It could be caused by a number of factors: emotional, physical tension. And that can make us feel a little bit frustrated, perhaps even angry or nervous. because we may not know how to handle that stress, or we may not know how to handle the situation that has been put in front of us. And stress can be caused by a number of factors, whether we have a disagreement with someone in our own family, maybe even a friend. We may be dealing with difficulties on the job and at school, which is normal. But a lot of times we don't deal with change that easily. Or we may need time when addressing a new situation. It doesn't matter how big or small it is. It could be something big like moving into a new home, or even small chores. Things like our health can play a huge factor in how we feel. Relationships, whether it is our family or someone that we care about. Dealing with disappointment, which is not always the easiest thing. And there will come times when people, no matter what, will deal with disappointment, and that's okay. It's part of life. But not being accepted can also cause stress. When we don't feel like we're fit in, or if we don't feel like we're accepted into a group, that we're not being welcomed, that can play a huge toll on us as well. It's important to know, though, that there are ways to cope with stress. And these are just some examples. If you or someone else that you know is dealing with stress, the best thing you can do, and these are just a few examples, are getting enough sleep at night, because it helps us to grow and develop naturally. But it's just best overall for our health, making sure that we are well rested at night. So that way we feel focused in the morning and we're paying attention throughout the day. We focus on the things that we're good at, our strengths. And when we have time to focus on or build on those strengths, it keeps our stressors in perspective. We do things that make us happy, that make us feel good, activities, or even hobbies. I like art. Art is a great way to relieve stress, or even playing video games. And we incorporate them into our daily life. Physical activity, going to the gym, this is a great way to relieve stress. It not only takes our mind off of things, but it relieves chemicals that make our brain feel just a little bit better. Plus, it helps us to stay fit. Whether we're going for a walk in the park or a bike ride, maybe a game of basketball with a group of friends. Having physical activity and staying active can be a great way to relieve stress. It's very important, something that I've incorporated into my life. And there are some days when I may not be able to really do any of those things, where I may need to have to talk to someone. And that's okay too. It doesn't matter whether it is to you, if it's to a parent, maybe a teacher, a coworker, someone that we trust, that we can address the problems with, and maybe find solutions. There are some other strategies too. We like spending time with our family and friends. In some cases, we may even talk to them if we need to address an issue that's going on. Or in some cases, just to take our mind off of stress and be able to laugh and share memories. Even volunteering in the community to build our work skills. Things like listening to music, dancing, getting up, active movements. These are certainly ways that have helped me. Even taking on yoga, going to the gym regularly, getting exercise. Something as simple as reading a book or a magazine, focusing in on words and being able to share stories Things like listening to music, an art form like drawing, painting, these are all great ways to relieve stress and excellent strategies that make us feel a little bit better, that release great endorphins into our body and make us feel happy. But we also have to remember some days we can't do this alone, and we may need help along the way. And there are a number of solutions out there. There are a number of people who are willing to help, whether it's a therapist or a counselor, attending support groups that may be peer led. If we absolutely need assistance, that there are 24-hour hotlines that are operated all the time. So if in fact you need that option, it is there. But in a lot of cases, we may just need to check in with ourselves. If we're not feeling good, if maybe we're feeling something physically, that we check in with our doctor. Keep those regular appointments. Make sure you have your annual checkups. And if something else is feeling wrong, there are a great number of specialists out there. But a lot of times we don't often think about our physical health. And that's just as important because we don't want to feel that stress. And we want to live our best life. When we take care of our health, that can lead to positive results. And I like to close my slides with a positive quote that challenges are what make life interesting, but overcoming them is what makes life meaningful. It's important to know that there are going to be challenges no matter what. And we may need some help along the way, but it's important to know we can do it. We can build our own life. We can live in the community. We can advocate for ourselves. All we need is a little bit of empowerment, a little bit of support, and we can do just about anything. And I want to thank you so much for listening to today's presentation, and I'm open to any questions or feedback that you might have.
Thank you, Stefan. Anyone have any questions for Stefan? Okay. Did you have a question, Elizabeth, or?
No, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the great presentation.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
And again, I'd like to both thank Stefan and Ben for joining us today, and Stefan for bringing us another important presentation. Again, we'll share this on our Facebook and our social media. Elizabeth, thank you for joining us today, and I wish you all a good rest of your day.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.